pictures of the thylacine from before its extinction. You've likely seen just the same few of them. Poor old Benjamin in captivity at the Beaumaris Zoo, or a hunter posing with a rifle and a tiger hanging by the tail from the ceiling. It's not like new pictures show up on a regular basis. That's why Chris Rayberg knew it was something special when he saw what a Westbury-raised woman shared online. Now, Chris is the photographer and amateur naturalist you might have heard on Your Afternoon just recently talking about crowdfunding his project, taking the sample of thylacine hair he has and making the detailed microscope images of its composition available online. But now he's come across this development. Hello, Chris.
Good afternoon, Helen. How are you?
Oh, well, indeed, thank you. And what exactly is in this photo?
Yeah, so this is pretty exciting. What's in the photo is a mother Tasmanian tiger with 3 of its pups. It's inside a cage which has straw at the bottom of the cage and bars at the front, and the back and the sides of the cage are made from timber. And she's up in the back corner there, and the pups are really small and they're all kind of cowering, and she's got her mouth wide open, which is generally a kind of a threat pose. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting photograph.
How rare is it for new thylacine records to show up?
Well, to be honest, I don't really recall any new photographs showing up in the 10 or 12 years I've been looking at them. So it really is quite rare. I'm hoping, though, that perhaps a few other people might still have some photographs or some letters or some stories or anything that might still be in their own family history, because that's how this photograph has come to light just this week, actually, or over the weekend. How'd
you come across it?
Yes, so what's happened is there's a lady, her name is Rose Lewis, and she's actually the granddaughter of the photographer. And she was in a vintage and retro group on Facebook and posted this photograph of a Tassie tiger and just sort of made this blasé comment, oh, this is my granddad's photograph of the last tigers. And she didn't really know just how significant this photo was, or the fact that it was unknown to science and never documented. Nobody knew it existed. Nobody had seen it, apart from obviously the family. And from there, somebody on that group obviously is into Tasmanian tigers and sort of raised the alert. And very quickly, all around the different Tasmanian tiger Facebook groups, everybody's saying, oh my gosh, there's this new photograph. So that's how I came to find out about it. And somebody as passionate about the thylacine as you are, how did you feel when you saw it? Well, I was pretty stunned. I was up late until the night to research this photograph and find out all that I could. So what the story is, in the end of the day, is that the tigers in this photo are actually already known about, and there are other photographs of these tigers. And in fact, there's some newspaper articles. So what's happened is a gentleman by the name of Walter Mullins was trapping for kangaroos in Western Tasmania, and he's trapped this mother thylacine with 3 pups in her pouch. The foot, unfortunately, he had to amputate the front foot of the mother, but he nursed this Tasmanian tiger back to health, and he's kept them alive, and he's reared those young. So this was in mid-1923. By the end of the year, he started to inquire whether any of the zoos would like to make a purchase, and Hobart Zoo made an offer, but he's declined the offer and said, no, that's not enough. And he decided to take these tigers travelling and just to exhibit them at country fairs. In fact, this family was taken on a ship across the strait to Melbourne and exhibited there, and then brought back to Tasmania. And I'm not sure if any other Tasmanian tiger that's left Tasmania alive has come back alive. So that's quite exciting. And then when he got back, he was speaking to Launceston. The zoo there was interested in making a purchase. But ultimately, the Hobart Zoo put another offer in, and that's where the tigers ended up going. Chris, is there anything you hope comes of this new picture emerging? Yeah, look, I think it's fantastic, and Rose has been really fantastic in answering questions, and she's totally excited to learn about the history of this animal. But I would not be surprised if there are other families, other people that have some sort of family history from, say, before 1950. It might not be a photograph. It could be just a handwritten notes or a letter between people or a diary. It might be a photograph or a film or some audio recording. But it would be amazing if more people had information like this, because the scientific world gets really excited, the people that are keen on Tasmanian tigers, because we have such little historical information to put together a history of the species and all the things that went on over, the last sort of 30, 40 years of when they were alive. If there are listeners that have something they would like to share, even just talk about it, they might not be ready to share a photo or something. I have set up a page on my website where they can make contact or even upload a photo or a document if they have one. Great. So that would be fantastic, because, there are some good online digital resources that talk about the Tasmanian tiger that any member of the public can use. And on my website, on the homepage, you'll see the new photo that's been discovered, a bit of a short article talking about the photograph and links through to much more extensive information about that family of tigers.
Wherelightmeetsdark.com.au, Chris Rayberg's page. As exciting as it is for there to be a photo of Tasmanian tigers from before their extinction, which hasn't been made public before, but the shot is also a piece of family history for Rose Lewis from the years on the West Coast and in Westbury. Hello, Rose. Where's this photo come from?
I've had it all my life. It's my grandmother's photo. My grandmother, Hilda, was married to Walter Mullins, who snared the tigers.
Oh, I suppose you don't think of something you've seen for your whole life as being special and hugely interesting to science.
Helen, I had no idea. It's been in an envelope, with lots of other old family photos. And the other night I was on a site for vintage things, and I thought, I'm just going to pop that up there,
People might like to see this.
People might like to. I had no idea.
Yeah, it turns out they're very excited about seeing it. So because it had been in that envelope, what sort of conditions is it in?
I'd say only fair condition. I know that my nan put it in the envelope back in probably the early 70s. And before that, it was carried around. I think it was showed around, possibly. It's got a couple of marks on it, but not too bad considering its age.
What sort of stories did you grow up hearing about Tasmanian tigers?
Well, my nan would talk about it, but my dad never would. It was like trappers and bushmen back then who snared animals were not exactly the best of society, if you like, these old tough bushmen. And we know that Walter moved into like more a country town area after he sold the tigers and bought horses and started rearing horses. So the tigers were like, yep, he caught them.
Well, and they kind of set him up for the next chapter of his life.
I believe so, yes. It's quite weird looking at the photos of the family, of them back then, because Walter actually had one of those little old, like, bakelite cameras. I don't know what they're called now. And he took photos of him and Hilda up at the cabin where they used to live. And then after about 1926, early 1926, they'd actually moved into a proper house with running water. I think they still had an outside dunny, but...
But things have been pretty basic on the West Coast for them before that?
Oh, definitely.
So has it made you look at your other photos in a different light now?
Yes.
What other ones have you got in there?
With the pre-tiger time, I'm now calling it, they're pretty much just this tiny little cabin with a shack off it where I'm presuming they used to hang the trapped animals and things. And then afterwards with the photos of Walter with his horses and, then time moves on and they get a motor car.
Wow. How homesick is it making you feel?
More homesick for the people, I think. It would be lovely if some of them were still alive to share this with. Or to have put it out there for Dad and my Auntie Rosie. It just would have been great for them to know that people really are still interested.